1 is the public hearing for the Rock Creek Entertainment District Project Plan.
Rob Norman, Ward 3. Norman is the second fastest growing city in the state. Norman is the most investable city in the state right now. That means a place that people want to come and do business. Norman is a top 25 place to live in the Southwest. That's with or without Rock Creek Entertainment District. Now, will that make us better, as some would say? Maybe, but it won't with a $600 million TIF plan. What we have at issue tonight is a good project build. As I said at Planning Commission, I stood up and played the role of pulling for the arena for kids 6 years ago. But I also stood up and knew that we needed to end a TIF increment back then because that was killing our general fund. And that was a little TIF, a little shared revenue TIF. This TIF, our own consultants tell us, are going to take $1.2 to $4 million per year out of our general fund. That's unacceptable. Now, why is it going to do that? Let's forget about that for a minute. What it's going to do, according to our own consultants, depending on the scope of the project, is it's going to take somewhere between about $800 to $1 billion to $4 billion out of the economy of the rest of Norman and divert it into the district. Now, if we're playing free market capitalism, that's okay. Let the best firm win. Let the best plan win. I support and voted for this plan on the UMP TIF committee, but I voted against the financing because it is the worst possible public financing tool we could use. And it's been done for one reason, and that's to avoid a vote of the people. Well, depending on what you do tonight, that's going to happen anyway. And it's going to happen February 11th. That's going to happen anyway. Think about that. So I don't have as much time as these folks had to give their presentation. I've given it in communities, and I will continue to do it. But what I will say is, no matter what happens tonight, I would like to invite the best you folks have and the best we have to actually do an open debate on both the build and the financing of this plan. I'll be happy to pick mine, you pick yours, we'll do it anywhere, anytime, any place. And we're probably going to be doing it before February 11th. So, let's be professional, let's really decide what we're going to do about this plan. It's a good project build. It's a terrible financial bill for the economy.
Hi, I'm Pamela Post, and I'm in Ward 5, and I must be a success story for the University of Oklahoma and the city of Norman because I am a student who came to OU and stayed in Norman. I did not stay because of an arena. I came because I married my husband, who was a city employee, who ended up being furloughed because there wasn't enough money in the city coffers. Granted, we all know that public safety sales tax will come back to you, and you all will use it. But at this time, you all are currently subsidizing the city budget for the police department and the fire department and any other safety over $2 or $3 million a year out of the general fund. But yet, over the next 25 years, you're wanting to take $600 million out. And I am proud to say I am the person who brought up the public safety issue first, and the next time it came around for us to get to speak to you, that was the first thing OU came in and jumped on. OU, who has sit here tonight and said, with humility, they have brought forth this project and want to be the best partners possible, but yet why are they only putting in $100 million when it's going to cost us up to $600 million? Someone on the board up there has said, this is something we can make up somewhere else in our budget. How are you going to make it up when you don't have the income coming in? Granted, the land isn't making any money now, but the money it's going to be making is diverted for 25 years. Where are you going to get the money to subsidize this? We had a presentation with 46 yes votes and 1 no vote. But did any of those votes on those committees have to deal with the financing of this arena. I'm not against an arena. Oh, you can build it, it's their land. It's the 100% TIF financing that I am against, that I think the majority of the citizens of this town are against. We keep hearing about the SEC and how great of a boon it's going to be for us. Yippee for the SEC. You have a finance director who has told you you cannot compare this city with SEC cities because your funding mechanism is city sales tax and theirs is not. And until somebody up at the Capitol gets a brilliant idea of how to change financing for the cities, sales tax is going to be your revenue for the next 25 years, yet you want to write off up to $600 million. I don't get this TIF. I don't understand it. Your studies have said 100% is not viable for this town. Go back, rework the numbers, get OU to come to the table and say, we will put in more financing. We've heard how much their foundation is making, so listen to it. Thank you all very much.
Cynthia Rogers, Board 4, OU Professor of Economics. I was a Division I scholar athlete. The coaches left, so they don't get that. I was never a college coach, but I am a subject matter expert on TIF and school funding and how the Oklahoma City Thunder impacted business activity in Oklahoma City. So maybe since I'm a subject matter expert, can I get as much time as my boss got? What do you think? No? Okay. That's a good try, right? Is this a good investment? I think that's really the question. And we have a good handle on the costs. $230 million in principal. Money's not free. So the financing of that might get us up to $600 million. And that's a massive amount of money for the city of Norman. That's 10 times the amount of Norman Forward, which was a 15-year program and voter approved, lots of voter support. That is more than the last 4 bond issues put together. Those were voter approved with a lot of voter support. On a per person basis, so you take the $600 million and divide it by Norman's population, it's $4,600 per person, which if you compare that to the Oklahoma City Thunder's $1 billion arena, that was $1,400 per person. So, in perspective, this is a lot of money. It's a lot of public spending. And I think what a TIF is very good at, besides avoiding a public vote, which I think is the appropriate thing to do of this much money and this sort of contentious issue, but it's really good at moving activity around. We can absolutely scrape up money and build an arena and have a bar district like another block of downtown right next to the arena. We can do that because that's what TIF does. But what it also does is it moves activity from the rest of Norman. So instead of going downtown for a drink, you're like, oh, I'll go to the new TIF area, isn't that cool? And that's where it bites the city budget. Because you don't get the revenue growth in the rest of the city, the non-TIF activity, plus you give up tax revenue in the TIF. And that's where it's going to come to bite us in 3 years when the revenues come in and we won't have money left. So, the final thing, in my last 22 seconds, is TIF takes money from schools because it uses property taxes and those other taxes that we were talking about before are school taxes. There's no way around that. If it's not 100% new stuff, you are robbing school funding to build an arena. And I don't think we can grow a good community.
Marguerite Larson, Ward 6, and I am deeply concerned about this project. I'm deeply concerned because I think it benefits only one entity. I don't think that it actually serves the Norman community as a whole. I think that this is going to be extremely detrimental to small businesses, to businesses that are just getting started. If you look at those 2 businesses coming in the downtown area, this is nothing but an influx. It's exactly what happened with the Target area. We lost everything at Ed Noble Parkway. So people who are concerned about coming in because of the SEC, If you drive by, coming in on the south, you're going to pass at Noble Parkway and you don't see any activity at all. Why not invest in something that's already here? Why not invest in the community as a whole? That's something that's going to benefit everyone. Why not invest on the east side? We could use a lot of help over there. There's a lot of empty buildings. There's a lot of things that people can do. That drives business. It drives people. It will bring people in. And from what I can tell, the university is not really hurting for people attending their sports. So I think this is a no-brainer, and I think it's a no vote. Thank you.
Steve Ellis, Ward 4. Team Norman started the drive for this proposal with a PR campaign. Private investment, everybody wins, there's no risk. Tiffy the Unicorn is here to give everybody joy. But that was always a silly thing to say. Economic programs always have benefits and costs, and it's the distribution of those costs and benefits that determine the quality of the program. Unicorns that allow all of us to bliss out, it turns out aren't real. That's a stuffed animal, in case you didn't notice. And it's embarrassing to watch OU leaders pretend that they are. And let's not pretend to be a great research university if OU administration won't pay attention to what the research says. Once it's become clear who pays and who benefits, the promises of this Arena TIF project have crumbled like sand through our fingers. All of the analytic work on the TIF shows that it succeeds only by means of net diversion of a huge amount of economic activity from non-TIF Norman. About half of the activity in the TIF that was just quoted a minute ago. That's what the research says. And that's what advocates have ignored. Notice when earlier speakers have tried to sell you on issues on cannibalization, nobody has talked about what the research says. That research poses a variety of problems. The first is that the city council shouldn't be picking winners in the marketplace. If we're going to let the market determine this, let's do that. But choosing your favorites is an unjust way to go. Secondly, Core Norman and the East Side need development as well, and this squeezes that out. There will be nothing left in order to do anything for the rest of Norman. But finally, I think the most important issue is that this diversion knocks a huge hole in Norman's general purpose budget going forward. You can't wave a magic wand and make that go away. We're talking about the economic reality, and as the economics professors have been telling you, this is a huge problem for Norman's budget going forward. And no one has denied this diversion evidence. They've talked around it. So the same diversion of economic activity actually hurts the Norman public schools as well. So I think people trying to assuage you about that are also mistaken. But now it's crystal clear what's at stake. The TIF project benefits the OU Foundation and its partners greatly. Norman, on the other hand, pays the costs in terms of diminished non-TIF economic activity and a hit to the TIF budget. If you take that into account, the ROI on this investment for Norman over 25 years is negative. We lose every single year. So the question is, are you going to pony up for something for the OU Foundation, or are you going to watch out for Norman?
So you're at.
Yeah.